I'm going to call this meeting to order. Would you please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next up is roll call. Start voting, please. Holly?
All councilors present and a quorum has been declared.
Thank you. Next up is the agenda approval. Do we have any changes, additions, or deletions to the agenda?
No, we don't.
Thank you.
If not, Mayor, I'll make the motion. We approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on the agenda approval? Seeing none, start voting, please. Holly?
The motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. Next up, we have citizen comment. I do not have any cards before me, so we will move on to ceremonial items, and tonight we have the introduction of our deputy clerk. Holly, it's yours.
Okay, so I am introducing our new deputy clerk, Susana Gallegos. We just hired her. We're really glad to have her on board. And I'm going to let her tell a little bit about herself.
Good evening.
Welcome, Suzanne.
My name is Susana Gallegos. I'm a Valley native. I worked the last 22 years with Lester Sigmund Rooney in Suizo. I'm excited to work with everyone, and I embrace this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Susanna. Any comments, Council? Councilor Johnson?
Welcome aboard, Suzanne. Nice plug, too.
Councilor
Suzanne,
Coleman?
I would like to welcome you as well, and I wish you much success.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. I'll just follow that up, Susanna. Welcome, and thanks for being here. Next up, we have the introduction of our new officer, Ivan Garcia. Chief, thank you for being here this evening.
Good evening, Council. I'm here again to introduce another new officer, Ivan Garcia. He started with us on February 2nd of this year. He completed his 14 weeks of FTO training and is now a one-man car status with our agency. So I'll let Ivan tell you a little bit about himself.
Well, my name is Ivan Garcia. I'm 37 years old, and I'm originally from Los Angeles, California. Graduated from Montclair High School. I moved to the San Luis Valley in January of 2001. Shortly after, in 2002, I attended the CLETA program in Trinidad, Colorado. After completion of the police academy, I worked narcotics for the Prowers County Drug Task Force. After my assignment was completed, I was hired on with the Monte Vista Police Department, where I had the pleasure of having Chief Oakes, who was a sergeant at the time, also working for Monte Vista, train me as my field training officer. I worked for the city of Monte Vista for approximately 13 years. During that time, I also worked part-time for the Costilla County Sheriff's Office and later for the town of South Fork as a part-time police officer. During my career, I have held the titles of corporal, sergeant, as well as a drug investigator. In 2007, I was presented with the San Luis Valley Peace Officer of the Year Award along with the Monte Vista Peace Officer of the Year. I have also been a CLETA instructor for several years under the direction of the chief. I resigned from the Monte Vista Police Department in May of 2014 for personal reasons, but by choice. I have been employed with the Alamosa Police Department as of February of this year. In the short period of time that I have been here, I have had the great honor of working with great sergeants, corporals, and officers who have been my FTOs. These officers have been extremely patient with me, guiding and instructing me day after day, and for that I am very grateful for these individuals. I'm sure these officers are very excited that I have completed the training program and they don't have to have me in their car day after day asking a bunch of questions. Council, I thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be up here today, but I also want to thank all of the officers from the chief on down that have invested their time into me as well as believing in me in order to make this happen today. But most importantly, my family who has been there to support me and have never given up on me when times got tough. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you being here, Ivan. Chief, what can I say? You know, under your direction, this department's integrity just continues.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Counselor Johnson.
Welcome aboard, Mr. Garcia.
Thank
Good
you.
experience. I'm extremely happy we're hiring an officer with your type of background. I think you'll serve us very well. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Counselor Stefano.
Welcome, Ivan. You come from my neck of the woods, Montclair. I worked at the college over there in Montclair.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Great police department.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you.
Counselor Griego.
Yes, welcome, Mr. Garcia. Also, can you speak Spanish?
Fluently, sir, and write it.
Good. That's what we need, that's what we need to have.
Yes, sir.
You know, we have a lot of Spanish surname officers and even employees in our city, and that's something that, you know, better serve the community.
Yes,
You
sir.
should be able to speak there.
Yeah, we're
That's
very
great.
lucky to
That
have
is great.
Ivan with his experience and, again, like you just asked, his ability to speak and write Spanish.
Great, that's great. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Officer Garcia, do you live over on Sunset?
No, sir. I live in Monte Vista.
You live in Monte Vista. There's a gentleman that lives on Sunset, looks a lot like you. I thought it might have been you.
It's not me, sir.
Oh, well, maybe you'll move to Alamosa soon. It would be great to have
Yes,
you
sir.
live in
Yes,
our
sir.
community.
I'm
But-
actually working on it, currently working on it, so.
But welcome to the force, and
Thank you, sir.
we appreciate you being here. Thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much. Thank you, Chief Oakes.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I got one more comment. Mr. Garcia, thank you also as well for putting your life on the line to protect the citizens here in Alamosa. We really appreciate your service.
Thank you, sir.
And we send the best out to your family as well for allowing you to serve as well. And Chief, you're almost fully staffed, so keep
One
up the
more to
great
go.
work. All right, good deal.
Thank you.
Next up, we have consent calendar A. The consent calendar allows multiple actions with one motion. Consent calendar A contains routine items which have been recommended for action by staff or advisory boards. Council may remove a consent calendar item for separate consideration. Tonight, we have the 2015 wheel loader bid award revision, the approval of the minutes for our May 20th, 2015 meeting, and resolution number 7, 2015, a resolution rescheduling the June 17th, 2015 regular meeting of the Alamosa City Council to be held concurrently on July the 1st, 2015. Council? Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If there's no questions, I move that we approve consent calendar A as presented.
I second.
I have a motion and a second on consent calendar A. Is there any further discussion? Start voting, please. Holly?
The motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to regular business. Business brought forward by city staff. This evening, we have Public Works, public hearing on ordinance 7, 2015, and ordinance vacating the alley on the north side of lots 5 through 11, block 1 of the college subdivision, as well as a 2016 5-year capital improvement plan. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, council. This is the public hearing on the ordinance that was introduced at your last meeting. Just to refresh your memory, several years ago, a land transfer between then Adams State College and the Trinity Lutheran Church resulted in the church obtaining the property to the rear of their facility for the relocation of the playground used by the children attending the church-run school. With the completion of the new playground, the church is now requesting the vacation of the alley that separates the existing building from the playground. It'll result in a safer environment for the children and help alleviate what has been reported as troublesome local traffic in the area. At the time of the land transfer, it was understood and represented that when this alley vacation was requested, the church would dedicate a new alley for access to solid waste and emergency vehicles. When the actual layout of the new alley was being investigated, our commercial garbage truck was brought into site to identify the necessary turning radii, and was determined by the church that the area required for that truck to turn was just greater than they had anticipated. So we've obtained agreements from all of the property owners to the east of the church, relinquishing access to solid waste and emergency vehicles to the rear of their property, and they are all in favor of the vacation.
Thank you, Pat. Any questions of Pat, council? Thank you, Pat. Doesn't seem like we have any questions. And so with that, I will open the public hearing on ordinance number 7, 2015. Anyone wishing to speak for or against this ordinance, please approach the podium, identify yourself for the record. Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and bring it to council for discussion or decision. Councilor Vihil.
Thank you, Mayor. I had a question for Pat. Has the university approached you at all about how this might affect their parking situation for softball or baseball games?
The university and the church worked together for a long time to try to come to find some middle ground there, and they haven't been able to. I've spoken with Bill Mansheim, and he said they're not going to fight it. They're just need to go ahead and vacate it, and then they'll figure out where they go from here.
Councilor Gallego.
So you're saying that the trash and all that is going to be picked up in the front?
Yes, they'll go to a regular polycart, like a
Right.
regular residential customer.
Okay, because I took a drive out there, and I don't see how they're going to keep people from going in the back there. I don't know, unless they erect some kind of a fence or something.
They're gonna put the right now they have the fence extending from the building back, but they have gates in it. They're gonna finish those off, and that alley by the hand right now, that right there, I believe they're probably gonna end up working with the college to install some gates on that. That was going to be the location of the new alley, but by the time we got the commercial truck in there and showed what it was going to take for him to get in there and turn around and get swung around, it was they couldn't go for that.
Okay, thank you, Pat.
Councilor Vihil.
Another question for Pat. That dirt parking lot next to the church?
Yes, sir.
That entranceway by that white car there, is that going to be blocked off? What's going to happen there?
That's still going to be church parking. I don't think it'll be blocked off, but that will be their
Their decision.
property, so it'll be up to them.
Thank you.
Councilor Gillespie.
So the church owns back to the fence, is that correct?
Yeah, the church, as I understand it, the church owns all the way back to the long solid fence.
Okay.
That's the south boundary of the college. There was some confusion when they built the fences. They're not exactly on line. They're 3 or 4 feet here and there, but the college and the church have basically agreed to live and let live on those fences.
Pat, I had a question specific to the maintenance on the levee. We are not going to have any issues trying to get back there to maintain the levee in any way.
No, sir.
Thank you, Pat.
With that, if there's no other discussion, I'll make the motion. We approve ordinance number 7, 2015, an ordinance vacating the alley on the north side of lots 5 through 11, block 1 of the college subdivision.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on ordinance number 7, 2015? Seeing none, start voting, please. Holly?
The motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to the 2016 5-year capital improvement plan. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you again, sir. Annually, staff creates a 5-year capital improvement plan based on project ratings derived from 8 different decision matrices that cover all areas of city operations, related work, how utilities and streets tie into each other, available budget, urgency of need, and council vision. This CIP has been created with these considerations in mind and was reviewed in detail with council at a public session on May 6th. This CIP is fundamentally identical to the plan reviewed at the work session with the exception of 2 additions. At the work session, council expressed a desire for the consideration of a pavilion at Diamond Park, and because of uncertainties regarding the timing and grant awards for the multi-use pavilion out at the rec center. This has been added to the unfunded projects in Parks and Recreation, as has an additional potential $12,000 for attic ventilation at the golf course clubhouse. It has been recommended as one way to alleviate some of the cooling issues we're experiencing in the summer in the restaurant portion of the clubhouse. So this is for your approval.
Thank you, Pat. Council? Councilor Grego.
I guess not a question, but a comment, just to kind of give a picture of how much money we're spending on streets. That's $992,000 on streets. Is that correct, Pat? According to this.
2016, yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So that's a large, we're really attacking those streets and trying to, because we're always getting comments on that our streets are bad and stuff. So that's good to see that that number is that high.
Yeah, you have allocated a lot of money for the street projects for the next 5 years.
Good. Good to hear. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, Pat. What are your wishes, Council? Councilor Johnson.
First off, thanks staff and Pat for the hard work. All of staff that was involved in this. There was a tremendous amount of work putting this capital improvement plan together. I do want to make a comment before I make the motion. Just like Charlie, I hope our citizens realize that we are putting money towards streets. We're spending an incredible amount extra on streets and other projects that we believe are important. And with that, I will move that council approve the 2016 5-year capital improvement plan as presented.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on our 2016 5-year capital improvement plan? Seeing none, start voting, please. Holly?
The motion carried unanimously.
Thank you, Council. Next up, we have committee reports. Does anyone have a committee report? Councilor Griego?
I guess I'll start. This is from the Airport Board. I attended a Colorado Airports Operation Association Spring Conference this last week, and it was quite interesting talking to a lot of the small-time managers from airports across the state, and they were talking a lot about these UVSs, they call them. And it seems that it's going to bring a lot of money into this state. So everybody's targeting this group of people that are coming in. So we're fortunate that our airspace is still kind of open here, and they want to come here. So, and they mentioned our name, that we are one of the people that are coming, are looking to maybe deal with these UVSs. So that's all here.
Councilor Vihil?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick note from the school board meeting. The district is close to or completely done with creating their curriculum for each grade level, each subject, and that's a huge kudos to the teachers and the administration. It's a very strenuous process, so the good things going on over there. Thank you.
Thank you. I did want to follow up on Councilor Griego's comment with UVAs, or the drones as they call them. Just so happened that I was watching the news night before last, and there's extensive flooding in parts of our country, and they are actually using these drones to try to find victims, which is just incredible. I mean, they can fly anywhere and hover over anything, and I think this is something that this part of the country could really utilize as far as economic development. And so thank you, Councilor Grego, for being at that meeting. Anyone else? Then we'll move on to Staff announcements. Heather?
We do not have very many tonight. We do want to remind everyone that this weekend is Summerfest, and I know park staff is working hard to make sure the parks is ready and all the festivities can take place, so that's exciting. Last week, we did have the public meeting for the plastic bag discussion. We still got a few more emails since there was some coverage in the newspaper, and so at your July 1st meeting, we'll have a compilation of all of the information, both from the meeting and all of the emails that we've received. So you will have that at your next meeting for discussion. And it looks like the next item that is coming up for council will be the CML conference up in Breckenridge. So that's all we have from a staff perspective.
Thank you, Heather. Next up, we will move on to our liquor licensing authority action, consent calendar B. We've got Christian Community Services Project, CCSP, Alamosa Roundup Rodeo Special Events Permit, June 25, 26, and 27 of 2015. What are your wishes, council?
If there's no further questions, I'll make a motion we approve those.
I second.
Mayor, could we pull that for a second? I want to make a comment
Okay.
about it,
Okay,
Well,
thank you.
just for the record.
Well, you got a motion on the floor. Did you have a second?
I did second it, but
I've got a
what do
second.
you?
Well,
want
you
us
already
to
have a
do?
motion and a second.
Sure?
Okay,
There's
discussion then?
Yes, let's have discussion then. I've
Okay.
got a motion and a second, but
I just want to comment for the record, the materials indicate a certificate of good standing for the applicant Christian Community Service Projects, but it was dated from 2012. The record should reflect, though, that the entity is in good standing, and I just pulled up a certificate of good standing off of the Secretary of State's website, current as of today's date, so that should not be an issue.
thank you, council. I've got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on consent calendar B? Seeing none, start voting, please. Holly?
The motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to council comment. Who has a council comment? Councilor Vihil.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to say thank you to Heather and staff for the plastic bag meeting we had last week. It was very informative, and we created some good discussion, and I hope we continue that throughout the next few months. Thank you.
Councilor Coleman.
I would like to encourage the community to come out and support the Summerfest activities this weekend and bring their families, have fun, and participate and help out the vendors. So that's what I would like to say. Thanks.
Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. Jump along with what Councilor Vihil said. That was a very good meeting, very well attended. I was happy to see a lot of council at that meeting, well represented, and I don't know how this is going to pan out, but I do believe we're going to see some very good recycling ideas and very good community input in our trash situation. And it did develop a very good community discussion that was very much needed. So appreciate bringing that forward, and I think we're going to get some stuff done along those lines. Thank you.
Councilor Gillespie.
Yes, looking forward to returning from CML and attending the Alamosa Roundup this year. So should be a pleasant experience for all of us on council. So thank you.
Very good. We have a need for an executive session this evening. I will entertain a motion, council.
Mayor, I'll make that motion that we go into executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-402 in parentheses 4, in parentheses F, to discuss personnel matters relating to the annual performance evaluation of the city manager.
I second.
I've got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on CRS 24-6-4024F? Seeing none, start voting, please. Holly?
The motion carried unanimously.
We will move into executive session, and after executive session, we will come back into regular session, and no further business will be discussed. Thank you.